Sounds good to me.
Excellent.
Want to respect everyone's time.
Yes, let's do this. Well, first and foremost, hi, good morning. Thanks so much for being here today. Really excited to be talking with you about a couple different announcements we have. To start off, we want to give you an Aero update. Yes, we are talking about Aero first and foremost. With the crazy weather, components for the production of Aero have been delayed. We're sending free product with each order of Aero, and we expect that Aero to ship on March 2nd. That's next Tuesday. All right, so make sure that you get that down. It is delayed, but we are prepared to get it sent out next Tuesday. As well, next Tuesday, we actually have our testimonial meeting at 7 p.m. Let me double check. Yep, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with Karen Toth. And I'm really excited about that. It'll be really good to hear. Let's see. Yes, and as part of the corporate efforts to make sure that we get this very shareable and make sure that you can communicate this with your teams, we frequently put out graphics for you to be able to use and text as well. So depending on how you want to market it, depending on how you want to show your people and introduce your teams to it, you have a graphic and you have text that you can put on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is that you want to use, you have it available to you. All right, so keep watching on the, ACTIVZ USA WhatsApp page, as well as the ACTIVZ USA Telegram app. All right, so both of those resources, both of those channels are for you guys to continue to do your best work. And Stu, as part of that, we're actually, what's that?
In addition to that
Yes.
weekly call, starting from next week, which is the beginning of March, with feedback from our lovely FAB members and your colleagues, we're trying to increase the number of participants that attend this weekly call. So starting from next week, we will award any distributor 20 reward points for every new person they bring to the call.
Yay!
Is that good? Is that good? That's the ideas of your fellow colleagues, our wonderful FAB. So what they need to do then is for those new prospects that come to these calls, whether it's a new distributor, whether it's their first time to the call, all they need to put in the chat is, I was invited by Aaron. I was invited by Karen. So that way we can validate them. So not only will you as leaders of your teams be awarded 20 rewards points for every call for the next 3 months, or 2 to 3 months. We talked about the time frame. We'll kind of see how it goes. But for every week that we do it, you get reward points for every new member you bring. But in addition to that, we will create a little mini raffle for these new participants that attend this call. So if there's 3 participants, new participants, if there's 5 participants, we will do a raffle that night for them for some active swag. So I hope that is fun for not only you, but also rewarding for those that you invite as well. Once again, we're just trying to increase the numbers on this cost so we can rival that of our distributors in Mexico, where they have hundreds of people on the call. So one person at a time, I think we can build that. Back to you, Dale.
That's perfect. And you know, you could just keep going. We have a couple more announcements, and I thought that I'd toss it to Stu to continue talking about a couple different promos that we have going on right now too. Stu?
Sure. So just to try to finish up the month strong, as you know, we have our promo where if you sign someone up on our new kits that we have, you will receive additional $20 on top of your fast start bonus. So continue to work hard towards enrolling people at these new kits that we have. Let me just make sure that I get this correct. Yes, our promotional kit, which is our wellness premium kit, our Aero launch kit, our premium kit, as well as our Aero kit, where you do the 5+1 on an Aero. So if you enroll anyone, new distributor or existing distributors buy one of these kits, you will be rewarded an additional $20 for your efforts. So continue to work hard. We have a couple of days left in this month. I always feel shortchanged in February because we only have 28 days compared to the 30 or 31 days, so 2 to 3 days shorter. But that means we just concentrate a little harder. And in addition to that, we also have our 500 club, which is still running. So for any new distributors, keep remind them, your new people that you enroll, that within the first 90 days, if they enroll 10 people with a minimum order of 200 PV, within the first 90 days, they will receive $500 or an iPad. But also for those who are our existing distributors, from February 1st till April, we have created a 90-day window for yourselves to achieve this great prestigious award of belonging to the 500 Club. So I know each and every one of you can do it, and each of you will do it. Just 10 people that you need to enroll at a minimum order of 200 PV, and you will belong to this club, which I think is a very prestigious and exclusive club, and we'll reward you for that. But more than anything else, we want to recognize all those that do it. So I encourage you to continue to do it, and we will look to see who achieves it, and we will be willing to recognize those that do. So continue to work hard and finish this month strong. Back to you, Bill.
All right. And Stu, did we cover the call center hours as well?
Oh, I'm sorry for that. Yes, our call center hours. As you know, the ending of the month, this month kind of falls on a Sunday. So because of that, our call center hours, we will be working late on Friday and on Monday. Okay. And then we also will be having the call center open on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for Saturday. So late hours on Friday, 10 to 3 on Saturdays, and late hours on Monday for anyone that, either placed an order that late Sunday night or whatever it is. We can make sure that we give you credit, and that it links to your February volume. So not only are we working hard to get everything to your hands, but we also have our wonderful call agents that's going to make sure that they also get the volume and the orders, any questions that you or your distributors may have for February as well. So everyone's working hard to support you, and we love supporting you, and that's the best thing about it. So I encourage you to keep working hard throughout this weekend, and see if you can end the month very strong. And back to you, Dale.
Thank you so much. I just had my son run in here. He's just turned 3 as of yesterday, and he has a bushel of balloons that has been tangled up, and walked in behind me asking if I could help completely take it apart for him. So my apologies, I'm here, and he's okay. He almost broke down, but I'm going to go help him out after the call's done. All right. I'm really excited for this next part. We actually have Christina Godoy who'd like to share a couple thoughts, and then I'd like to share a couple of my own thoughts to close out the meeting. Miss Christina, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for that introduction. How are you, everyone? Thank you, Angie, for the invitation. I have a story for you, and I'm gonna try to be as raw as I can, because I feel that when people is very open and very honest about their own story, or the stories that in my case, I've seen developed in the last, let's just keep it here, frame to ACTIVZ, 3.5 years. That's where we can get identified. That's where we can get motivated to see that other people, we don't get to where we are just out of the blue. We went through struggles and ups and downs, and we sometimes forget those moments to tell, not to relive in our mind, but to tell them. So I want to tell you a story. I'm very, very happy right now and for the last couple of weeks, because one of my best friends, her name is Lina Correa. Lina Correa and I went to high school together. So, we were very good friends, and not very close, but very good friends. We were in the same high school, same classroom, and that's another story. But when I started this business in 2012, Lina Correa was living in Miami. I was already here in California. And I said, wow, who are the people that are actually better in some areas than I am? And I immediately thought of Lina Correa because she is the kind of girl that you want to be friends with. She's super, super friendly, super social. I'm not. So I think it's value when you recognize your weakness and who the people that it's around you will compliment you and you be better as well, right? So I reached out to her. And I reached out to her through Facebook Messenger because she probably doesn't know, but she was the first person ever told me that Facebook existed back in 2006, I think, 2007. I never joined because, again, I'm not the most out there social, public person in the world. But I knew she was going to be in Facebook. So I sent her Facebook Messenger and she completely ignored me. Okay. So that was 2012. So by 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 17, I went to a trip to Hawaii. And then I started thinking of her. I never stopped thinking of her. I just thought, like, I'm not going to stop my business because she never replied. Her loss, right? So, but I started thinking of her more and more, and I started sending subliminal messages. When I go on Facebook and put a message, it's completely subliminal. It has a purpose that no one can read, only me. And I started praying for her. And out of the blue, she reached out. She reached out and said, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing? I just saw your message. I never saw this message before." 5 years later. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I thought you were being the mean girl in high school." And she's like, "No, no, no. I never saw it." I'm like, "Okay, so what are you doing?" I'm like, same thing that I sent you that message. And I just went to Hawaii with all my family and it was amazing." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, tell me more about it." So I did. And I remember, the process going back and forth. And I remember she delivering the news to her husband, which I also knew growing up. Um, and he was like, "No, she's just lucky because she was on the news and people recognize her and her pretty face and whatever." And she's like, "What? No, if she did it, I can do it too." So we Colombians, very stubborn. And she went and signed up in the business. Um, and that was 2017. She was like probably 4 months in the business when I have to and we were, kind of starting the business. And she's a US citizen. She's like, "Yeah, I know people in the US and I can do it." And she was very positive against, the noise in her own household. And anyway, so I have in September to have a conversation with Lena. I said, "Listen, you just joined. I wanted you for 5 years in my business, but I'm leaving this company." And she's like, "What?" "I'm moving to another company." So I told her the story and she's like, "Well, listen, I don't have absolutely anything to lose. If you're moving, if you're risking everything, you're risking 5 years of job, your work, I'm doing it too." So she moved to ACTIVZ, right, with me. And then she's like, "Okay, but there is a little issue. How am I going to do this business? They're open in Mexico. I'm not Mexican. I don't, I lived in Colombia. How are we going to do this?" I said, "We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. How about if you start doing it on Facebook? Just join all the Facebook groups you can and start doing your business there because that's the only way. And, I'll help you, I'll guide you, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "Okay, I'll do it on Facebook." Parentheses, don't do it on Facebook right now on these groups. 3.5 years ago, to some of you, I told you the same exactly thing that I told Lina Correa. Right now, when people start watching what happened to her, everyone jump in the same groups. Doesn't matter right now, okay? So she doesn't do it in these groups anymore. 2 weeks later, she finds Martin Lira. She found Martin Lira. She introduced her to me. She was in the morning, I remember. We had a meeting with him. And we started guiding Martin Lira through the process until he became famous through an interview that I did to him. So it was very hard. And I'm sure for some of you, and for me too, it's very hard that you go through this process, you do all those things, and then you forget about, people forget about how they started. And the story starts to change. And you start wondering, okay, it didn't happen like that. I mean, I had a role, I helped you, and your self-esteem starts to feel weird, feel bad about it because you have all this volume underneath you, and this famous star that rose because of his work, obviously, but there is a story that happened for him to go to that place, and Lena Correa had a big role and I had a big role, and that was forgotten. And that's where the raw part of the stories come in, right? So now you have all this volume and you're getting paid as an A2. You have almost $1 million under you, but you're getting paid as an A2, and you're not recognized, and you're not being part of the circle, and you're like trying to like, hey, I'm here, right? Um, but she never stopped. And she had her ups and downs, and her downs were like, oh my gosh, but she never stopped. And she started showing her husband, because $500 in Colombia are like a huge deal, even as an A2, huge deal. And obviously she saw me, and I went to visit them. I stayed at their house for like 2 weeks, and we became really, really close. And I'm like, listen, I was $500 earner as well once. And they saw me when I was a $10,000 earner. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's 12 and it's 14, it's 20, it's 25. So they saw that process until what it is right now. And their belief started to grow. And she never stopped. I have people in my business that I've seen that they stop doing the business. They go through seasons. And, I probably have done it as well, but she never stopped. Okay. And the relationships that she started building through social media, because that was the only place where she could reach out to people to grow her business. It was 8 hours job in the computer on her phone, and nothing popped up. I had a call a couple of weeks ago from a person in my organization on the English market and said, you know what, nothing is happening. Nothing's happening. My frustration, and I'm busy, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just tell me what you're doing. What do you mean nothing is happening? I reach out to so-and-so, I talked to so-and-so, I put this here, and I did this flyer, and I went on Facebook. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're planting seeds. That's what we do until the harvest come up, and you are doing amazing things. As long as you're doing something is happening in your business. And that was the case from Lena Correa, right? So every single day, she was in her computer. She's like, I'm tired. I need new glasses. I need new computer. And we're talking about 3 years. So I'm so excited right now, because all these seeds that she planted throughout these 3 years while she was being ignored, while someone that she brought, blessed his soul and everything that has happened to him and the organization that has brought to our business, but took the spotlight and changed the story of how he really started, how now her seeds started to grow. And when we launched, she became an A9, okay? And she never requalified for an A9 again, always paid as an A2. And this month, she's this close. She's already an A8, and she's this close to qualify for an A9. And her business is just going to start growing and growing and growing, because the seeds that she planted throughout these 3 years, while no one knew her frustration, while corporate didn't look at her, what the recognition from the teams wasn't for her, while her downline forgot about her, she was still doing what she's supposed to do. And her business, believe me, is going to grow, because she already has almost $1 million under her. Imagine her check as an 8A. We're like so excited. I have meetings with her pretty much every single day, and her 2 new legs. And these meetings are growing and growing and growing and growing. And it paid off. And she's very happy. And I'm so excited, because also as an upline, it's a relief to know that you brought someone trusted you, and now is their time to shine. So that's the story of Lena Correa. When you hear about her, when you can send her a message, please cheer up for her, because it's she deserves it. And if you do the same, there are going to be so many down moments. You're going to be so many unfair things going on in your business, but it's all worth it. And you also have the role to show that it's worth it. And I think that's been my role to her and her family. So I just wanted to share that story, because I'm very, very excited, very happy for her. This is just the beginning of what you guys are going to hear of our new A12, A15, and soon A16 as well. Thank you for the time.
Awesome. No problem, Christina. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's funny, because that actually goes in line with some of the thoughts that I prepared to close out our meeting today. Thinking back on her experience, That's a good primer. But rather than jumping right back into that story, I'm going to take us on a little tangent. How many of you have heard about the Mars rover landing last week? Just raise your hand if you heard about it, if you thought it was awesome, then give me an applause, something, show me. I'm a nerd. I'm a space nerd. I grew up watching the shuttle launches. I grew up knowing that one day I was going to be an astronaut. And then I became a copywriter. Yeah, life has a funny way of working out like that. That's huge news. You know, this is a fantastic opportunity for our country as engineers and scientists come together to work and achieve that goal of starting to learn more about Mars. But did you know that in the process of launching this rover, as that thing descends from orbit at some stupid, crazy fast speed, it goes to 0 miles an hour on the ground with 14 minutes of radio silence, meaning that the people that are at the launch site at NASA, they are hearing nothing from the rover as it descends to the planet's surface. Now, when you think about it, Mars is pretty far away from us, right? So it takes a little bit to communicate back and forth. So if something goes wrong, we will not know about it for 14 minutes. Lucky enough, the rover landed with no issue. It's functioning. It's already sending amazing pictures back to the scientists here on terra firma. How does that relate to our business here? Well, in the case of the story that Christina was just sharing, for me, it speaks to the idea that sometimes we forget. We can prepare and prepare and prepare all day for months, weeks, years on end, and still not see the results that we were thinking we were going to get from the get-go. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know how much that sucks sometimes. However, I truly believe that as we balance our effort, going out, following up, making those contacts, and our patience, being able to allow our trust in the process and our trust in our friends to let those seeds develop naturally, to come to fruition, to bear fruit naturally, I think, and I know that we'll find greater success as individual distributors and as a company, making the greatest company out there.
Holy cow, what is that?
You know what? I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. That's my little soapbox. I'll step down for now. I get really excited about this stuff. I think in another life, I could have been a motivational speaker, but that's probably just the voice talking. I don't know what skill I have, but I know that this stuff works. I know that it's something that I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about helping people achieve what it is that they want to achieve. So I guess that's the best thing that I can do at a corporate level, is to continue to support you guys. If you ever have questions, make sure you reach out. If you have suggestions, keep coming back and talking to your leaders, pass that information on. When we meet together with our FAB group, we talk about all kinds of different opportunities and suggestions and try and make sure that you are heard. So yes, just keep passing that along your upline. Make sure that whatever thoughts you have or concerns, reach out. We love you. We trust you. We want to enable you to achieve the dreams you have set forth for your own life. Thank you again so much, Christina. Thank you for your thoughts, Stu. Thanks for backing me up today. Thanks for taking the meeting for a little bit so I could gather my thoughts. It's kind of the first time I've been able to run this. It was good. It was good. It was great. Thank you again.
Good job.
Thank
See you guys. We'll see
Thank
you
Christina
guys
for sharing.